Welcome, welcome, welcome to day 2 of the Horse Tourneys Spa and Surf Showdown show. Round 3 of the 2021 Tourney Triple on Horse Tourneys. I'm Scott Carson, founder of Sport of Kings, and I'm here with my co-host, Chris Larmey. Chris, what do you think?
I don't know if I can bear to watch the finish here. We've got the bear growling on the top of the leaderboard. Chris Fiedler, he surged to the front, and it's a narrow lead and a tight leaderboard and some exciting races. So I'm really looking forward to these final 4 races, and somebody walks away with the big payday.
I don't know if we've seen a more tightly bunched field. Chris Fiedler was in 17th starting the day with $127. He's added 113 to take the lead. Basil DeVito is in 5th with 155 and has added about $89. Anthony Matera was in the lead and was holding it a lot of the day. He has added 43 today, but he has dropped down to 3rd, only $7 out of the money. Randall Miller was in 6th and is now in 4th. And Wendy Long, who was in 2nd, she got second day money of $9,800 yesterday, has dropped to 15th. Other notables that we've been following, Dan Wild, who's up for the $1 million bonus, is in 19th, and Scott Fiedler is in 23rd.
Yeah, but you go down to even where Wendy is at 15th place at $195. I mean, she's within one big price of the top of the leaderboard. So it is a scrunched up leaderboard. And if we do have a price horse somewhere in this sequence, it could flip pretty quickly. So it will be interesting from a strategy standpoint when it's this tight and there's some big money on the line. A lot of times you'll see the players maybe rather than go for the win, they'll try to move up 1 or 2 spaces on the leaderboard. And usually, when it's this tight, one short price winner might vault you up 3 or 4 places. So a lot of strategy could come into play depending on what the goals are of the players, given that big prize money, and there's good prize money even after first, although it is pretty top heavy. It'll be interesting to see what strategies these players employ in these last few races.
We could easily have a price horse in the next 4 races. Maybe, I'm not sure how likely it is in this upcoming race, but it's interesting. We were talking about prices yesterday. We thought it was a low price day, that 12-1 was the biggest price that came in. Well, same thing today. Gimmick in Saratoga 5th at 12-1 was the biggest price of the day, and the bear had it.
Yes, he employed a gimmick to jump to the top of the leaderboard, and he's crawled back there in the last couple races, held on to it in the last race, but it tightened up. And it'll be interesting to see what he plays in this next race. It is a bottom level claimer, and those 10 races tend to be a little chaotic. I mean, there's a heavy favorite, but, hanging your hat on a heavy favorite at the bottom level is always a little dicey. So anything could happen even in this next race.
That's right. And if you're anywhere, not near the top of the leaderboard, you're definitely looking for a price here. If you're near the top, you're considering playing this. And Chris Fiedler did take the lead with even money, Paint Me Lucky, 2 races ago.
Yeah, it's a little interesting, though. Now, that was when he was chasing. Now he's in the lead. And I'm not sure, if he'll employ the same strategy. There is a heavy favorite. I mean, Flat Out Joy is going to go off at, 1-2 or 2-5. That's an awful short price to take in a contest. But when the leaderboard is this tight, even that small, $5-6 can move you up and can be the difference between, winning and losing a big payday. So a lot of decisions to be made. But certainly there's a lot of options for the players who don't want to take that short price favorite. And this will be an interesting race to start off the broadcast.
Well, speaking of this race, let's move to the live racing segment and start handicapping this field. I guess it all starts with Flat Out Jenny. Do you think you can beat her, Chris? I'm not sure if I can, and I'm hoping I'm near the leaderboard. If I'm in this field, I'm hoping I'm in the top 20 right now so that I can't lose too much ground with Flat Out Jenny.
Flat Out Joy. Flat Out Joy.
There is a Flat Out Jenny that's running, running in New York, but Flat Out Joy. Yes, Flat Out Joy.
Yeah, I think Flat Out Joy is the most likely winner. But, anytime a horse drops to the bottom level for the first time, you got to be a little nervous. There's nothing wrong with this horse. Has the tactical speed. It's pretty good form. But you just got to worry. This horse has sort of kind of been dropping down continuously in his last few races, and that's never a good sign. So, I'm willing to take a shot. It wouldn't surprise me if the horse wins, but there's another horse in here that's not a great price, but a solid price that I really like, and that's the one horse Pasito. If you watch that, is this a she or he's here? These are probably she's.
It's a she.
If you watch her last race, it was just an incredibly good race. She broke alertly, but for some reason the rider just took a hold and dropped her way back, almost hopelessly back, and then she just pulled him up. And he stayed parked out literally 7 or 8 wide all the way around the turn. And then she kept closing and closing and closing and just barely didn't get up and galloped out well. So that was an amazingly good performance. And she has some pretty good back races. And I think the extra half furlong, this is not a 6 furlong race, it's 6.5. There is some pace on. The favorite probably guts out all the other front runners. So, to me, Pasito, off that last race, could easily win this, and right now she's projected to go off at 5-1. That's a pretty square price, and a horse with a really good chance to win, I think, in this tight leaderboard. That's who I'd probably be playing, unless I was just way down on the leaderboard. There are some other live long shots in here, but to me, Pasito's really solid. It's not speculative. I think if she repeats that last race, they changed the riders, went to a bug rider that has won for this barn before, and will likely be much more aggressive, especially from the rail. So I don't think we're going to employ those same terrible riding tactics that they did last time. So, if that horse is forwardly placed, not on the lead, but just, within striking range and can save ground early, I think this horse is really going to finish up strong.
Well, I'm going to have to disagree with you on Pasito. I don't really like the horse's chances. Whenever it runs a big race, which it did in its last race, it reacts. And that's been the pattern of this horse the entire time. It is possible that the horse still reacts a little bit and wins this race. But coming from the inside, I don't know. I'm not feeling it, and at 5-1 or less, I'm not feeling it for that horse. The two horses that I think that are prices that have a shot are first the 2 Traffic Stopper, who I'm surprised to see is projected at 8-1. The morning line is 4-1, and it's always been pretty fast, and it's run some fairly good races this year. Now, I guess this trainer who I'm not familiar with, Andreas Pisaris, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce that name. So maybe that's why the horse is being completely ignored. He's never won at Del Mar or even been in the money. But he is with Umberto Rispoli, and currently at 7-1. So I think that horse has a shot. And then a real bomber play that I think has some shot, just based on being kind of lightly raced, is the 9 Angels Advocate, who has a kind of a little, won a maiden race as a 6-year-old 3 races ago, and that was on the synthetic, and then ran kind of okay at Del Mar in its last race. I think that horse possibly has a little circle back sheet kind of pop pattern chance. Currently 7-1, and I'm not sure what the projected odds are on that one.
Yeah, I think we ought to have a head-to-head bet, Pasito versus Traffic Stopper. I don't like a horse that just got cleaned from Mike Maker by a trainer I don't know anything about. That's why you're getting the price. So I think we got to do head-to-head on that one. I think Pasito will crush Traffic Stopper. They're about the same odds.
Okay, it was actually claimed from Mike Pipey, not Mike.
I thought it was from Mike Maker.
No,
you're right. You're right, Mike Pipey.
Guy.
Okay, well, I'm not quite as negative, but still, I like that head-to-head bet. There is a couple other price horses. I think if people who need a big price, that aren't on that the top 10 or 20. One is the 10 horse, Listen to Blue. That horse has been running on turf and synth, hasn't been on dirt, but I mean, it could easily take the dirt. I don't know how well it will run on dirt, but it's been facing tougher horses. It cuts back in distance, so it should be closing, draws an outside post, has some, this is a weak field. This horse is races it's been running on turf are good enough to win this race. So that was one. And the other one, just, if I'm looking for a closer, I probably, actually, that's probably if I was going to pick a long shot, it would be the 10, Listen to Blue. That's probably the one I would settle on if I need a big price. He's projected.
I can see Listen to Blue. I can hear Listen to Blue. Well, so what do you think? Yeah. Now, could be the most vexing race of the 4 races that we're looking at today, because it is bottom level claimers, and you do have that heavy favorite who's currently at 6-5. What do you think? What do you think you do if you're anybody right up there on the leaderboard, like in the top 5, in the top 6, top 10? Let's say the top 6, because only $20 separates those 6.
I'd say if I were like in those top 4 or 5. If they really liked Flat Out Joy and thought that horse lays over, then I'd play it. I don't. That's not my opinion. But if that's the way they feel, I wouldn't fault them for that play, just because even $5 is big right now. But, if you don't, and that's my opinion, then, if you like another horse like Traffic Stopper in your case, I don't like that horse, but Pasito in my case, then, that's the way I would go. Or someone else, if there's someone else in here you like. After you get farther down the board, I'd be looking probably for a little bit more of a price. And then, I would go for like a Listen to Blue. Who was it that you liked that was at a pretty good
Angel's
price?
Advocate, who's not really that low of a price. But
yeah, Traffic Stopper is probably a better, about the same price, right? So
I mean, that Angel's Advocate is being played as much as she is at 7-1. Does give me a little bit more confidence in her chances.
Yeah, I will say that there's one real bomber in here and that's not without a shot, and that's the 6-horse Coal Shaft. To me, this is a weak field, and that horse second off the claim for Jeff Metz. I think that was one of these ship and you win claims from Churchill. Didn't run well on its debut, but it drops and cuts back in distance a little. And that horse, wouldn't shock me. And then it's 42-1 projected odds. So that's the other kind of real bomb that might have a chance.
Well, we've had this discussion about this trainer before. He's run 159 horses at Del Mar, and he's hitting at 1%. So he either has 1 or 2 wins. Let's say he has 2 wins out of 159 starters for a 0.15 ROI on a $2 bet.
So what point are you trying to make there, Scott?
Well, hey, you know what? He could win this race and be hitting at 2% and still have a terrible record at Del Mar, and you could score with a capper. So in a race like this, anything can happen.
Yeah, and when we talked about it last time too, it was one of these bottom level claimers. These are the kind of races a trainer like Metz can win at Del Mar. So, that's why to me, it's a little dicey to be sitting on a favorite who's what are they got Flat Out Joy now at even money. So actually it floated up a little bit. So I'm guessing some people are going to be on Flat Out Joy in here. We'll find out.
We will find out when they break open the gates. I will wait a few seconds and then I will hit the reload button. And I'm just checking Del Mar. So the odds are down to 3-5, and they are off. And Chris Felica goes with Angel's Advocate, and so does Anthony Matera, the first and third place horses, the first, and the horses on the lead there.
And Basil goes with Traffic Stopper, your horse.
And Basil goes with Traffic Stopper. Well, we'll find out if that was the right decision.
It's a pretty contentious pace. There's 3 or 4 of them that are sort of separated from the field. So it'll be interesting to see if one of those holds on or somebody makes a move from the back of the pack.
So the 9 has the lead, which is interesting. I don't remember if it was a speed horse or not. The 8 is breathing down her neck, and the 12, 35 to 1 has a fighting chance here. Let's see if anybody has that 12.
Right now, it's looking like it's going to chalk out with the favorite, and nobody went with that at the top of the leaderboard. It's kind of interesting. I thought there'd be a little more interest in that.
Well, Dylan Donnelly did, and actually, if Angel's Advocate can hold on here, that will help Chris Felica and Anthony Matera, and it hangs on for second.
So Chris Felica is probably the one that benefited the most. Anthony as well. And Dylan Donnelly.
We got to figure out who finished third. Now, we didn't make a bet on the 2 versus the 1, but
1 finished well ahead of the 2. I think the 2 finished last. 1 didn't run great and ran like 4th or 5th, but the 2 I think was way back.
All right, so Flat Out Joy, Dylan Donnelly, Mark Mitchell, and Phil Hodebeck all pick up a little ground. Let's see, what's that going to pay? That's going to pay like...
Not a lot. About $5.50, somewhere in that range.
$5.50. Yeah, so...
And the 9 will probably pay about, so
that's going to really bunch it up more. The 9 is not going to pay that much because it was tied for third choice, and the 3 to 5 favorite came in.
Yeah, probably $4 maybe a little more. So it won't be a big difference between the winner and if you played the winner or the second place horse, it's pretty close in terms of the payouts.
Okay, well, so he's pretty far back on the leaderboard. I'm not sure where he is right now, but he's definitely not in the top 50. And that is Alan Levitt. We do have an interview with Alan Levitt, who is going for the $1 million, and I don't know if he's got a great shot to win the $1 million this time at this point. But we do have an interview with him, and he did win the FloCal Face-Off and $200,000. So while we're waiting for results, we're waiting for prices, we'll go to an interview with Alan Levitt, winner of the FloCal Face-Off. And we are joined by the man who won $205,000 in the FloCal Face-Off, Alan Levitt. Alan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Alan, in the FloCal Face-Off, you picked 2 cappers. One was in the last race, which we understand since you were back in the standings. I think you were 19th. But there was another one on day 1. It was Just a Command at Santa Anita. I'm not sure if you remember that horse, but my question is, how do you decide whether to jump on a capper versus lower price horses?
It really depends. I mean, it depends on the situation. I normally try to find horses that are off, the radar, that other handicappers don't look at. And over the years, I've I guess, gained some types of wisdom in terms of, what sort of factors may or may not be useful for that. And I had no idea, I think I told you the story already last time, that the horse was going to be 99 to 1 when I first handicapped the horse. And that was the horse that I was, interested in at the morning line. And in that case, it was really watching the video of the first race. A lot of people, look at past performances and take that as gospel. And I tend not to. I mean, I use them very much as a tool, but then to help kind of guide me as to, well, let me take a look at the race and see what went on during that race for that horse, to see whether or not they really have a shot in subsequent races. And when you watch that first race for that horse, it was essentially a paid workout. And so when I saw that, I had a lot of interest. I thought that the horse had a good pedigree and had a real shot to win the race. And I was surprised as anyone that it went off at the odds that it did, and that I won. And most of the time I end up losing those races. You've just got to look at it from a sense of value. If I think a horse has, let's say, a 10-to-1 shot and the morning line is 30-to-1, that's somebody that I may be interested in. I had an example yesterday. Horse that won at Saratoga went off at 38-to-1. You know, my friends are all handicapping. I'm working yesterday, and I'm getting all these texts. So I'm feeling terrible. I'm saying, boy, I'm not having any fun like everyone else. And so I had a free moment. I pick up my formulator and look, and I say, well, goodness, this horse in the next race has lone speed. And I think that there's nobody else that can, this horse gets the lead and gets brave, is going to win. And it turned out winning at 38-to-1. I would have chosen that horse at 10-to-1. So
it's too bad it wasn't in the contest.
Well, you know, it's nice to win money as well. You know, hopefully if I'm lucky, maybe I'll find a horse like that as well in the contest. But, you know, I don't just win on long shots. I mean, I've, you know, won contests too where I'll be picking favorites. If I think whoever I really think has the best chance in terms of value, I'll try to choose. And I'll try to do that again this weekend.
All right. Chris, did you have any questions for Alan?
Yes, but first I want to tell him I love that he's rocking a Sport of Kings shirt.
Yeah. I am proud to wear it. I mean, it's a wonderful website, and I think you know, every horse player should be playing playing the contests. I love doing it.
No reason not to play, right?
Yes,
free.
Exactly.
Everything is free.
Exactly. By the way, you know, the jockey that won yesterday, I think Jalen Samuel, who won, I think was an ex-jockey from Aston Downs, which has been really Mondays at Sport of Kings.
Yeah.
So again, one of the great things of that website is how you get involved in terms of handicapping tracks that you would never get involved in. Canterbury Downs. You know, I look forward to Canterbury Downs now, and other than the Claiming Crown, I probably have never played that track before, and I'm playing it because of that website. So,
all right.
All right. So my question for you is, my understanding is because you won the big contest earlier this year, there's a bonus if you can win this contest of $1 million. So you're actually playing for a big payday potentially. Does that impact at all the way you prepare for this contest or how you'll play it going forward?
I hope not. I guess I won't really know unless I'm very much in contention, let's say on Sunday afternoon. I'll try not to. I enjoy doing the contest, whether it's, you know, $1 million behind it or, you know, $100 behind it. I love to play it. I mean, obviously, I love to win. I love to get the bonus and all those sorts of things. But I hope not. I did have, you know, experience when I was when they had the $1 million prize for the NHC. I was winning the second day, the year that you know Michael Bachuk won, and you know, but I at that time nerves did get to me, and I do think that I kind of started choosing more aggressively than I needed to, and I think I've learned my lesson from then. I got beaten by better horse players at the time, but again, I think I try to learn from the contests that I'm part of, and I guess if I'm fortunate, maybe I'll be in that position to have to see whether I've learned from my prior mistakes on Sunday.
All right.
Yeah, I was going to say, as Scott knows, that NHC is a very bittersweet contest for me. The year Michael Bachuk won. So
okay.
You're bringing back some memories there.
Okay. Oh no.
All right. Well, we got to get back to the Spa Surf Showdown show. So want to wish you luck, Alan. Good luck taking down that $1 million top prize. And hopefully we'll be trying to call you again late Sunday night.
Perfect. Thank you. And thank you for everything that you do. Okay. And have a great weekend.
All right.
Thanks.
Take care.
Good luck.
Bye-bye.
And we're back after the 6th race at Del Mar, and the leaderboard is updated. And Chris Felica has extended his lead slightly by hitting Angel's Advocate, the place money on Angel's Advocate, paid $660 to $640, I believe $640 for the favorite Flat Out Joy.
Yeah, the Angels Advocate paid a little more to place than the favorite did to win place, so he actually gained ground on everybody in the field on the top of the board.
660 to 640, yeah.
Yeah, but a few people did have Flat Out Joy and moved up. Dylan Donnelly now is in the number 6 spot. He's a great contest player, and he's making a move. Mark Mitchell, Phil Hodebeck had that horse, and Wendy Long. Remember, she heated up at the end of the day yesterday. Maybe she's playing a little bit of Zenyatta here, and she's going to, come flying late. So definitely still only $45 between, the first 13 or 14 positions. That's one long shot. And this race coming up is a great example about why I think contests are so fun. From a normal betting standpoint, this isn't a real exciting race. There's sort of two standout favorites that are not either one going to pay anything. But from a contest perspective, with a tight leaderboard like this, the players they don't want to give up any points at all to the field, so they're going to be kind of gravitating towards playing the favorites. But this is a race where if one of those two favorites gets beat, you got like some 30 and 40 to 1 shots that like everybody else is going to be playing because it's such a small field that you could just get rolled over completely on the leaderboard. Now, some people just hate that about contests, but to me, it's what makes it real interesting. So these guys near the top have got to decide, are they going to be defensive and play a long shot just in case? Or are they trying to, fend off their neighbors that are close by at the top of the leaderboard? I mean, there's no right or wrong answer, but this becomes a lot more interesting in the context of the contest than it does just as a betting race. And that's, to me, one of the cool things about contests in general is you got that whole other level of thinking you have to do in terms of decision making. Some people don't like it, and I get that, but for those of us who do, it just makes it more fun.
Let's switch back to the large leaderboard so that we can just take a look at a couple of other people here. Anthony Matera moved from 3rd into 2nd by having Angel's Advocate, leapfrogging just a little bit Basil DeVito. So he's in 2nd, and Chris Felica's got the lead. I noticed also that Scott Fiedler moved into 18th by having Angel's Advocate. So movement. He's still got a chance to repeat, and he's going to have to hit a price, and he may have to wait until the last race to do it.
That's pretty amazing, though, that he is in striking range, and Dan Wild is just a few slots behind him. He's eligible for that $1 million bonus if he could somehow pull it off, and it's not impossible from where he's at.
Not impossible. So it's a lot of intrigue happening here. Also, a few things to talk about. The first thing is day money, because the day money is pretty substantial. The day money is $16,000 for first place. I'm just going to switch to the day money standings, and we'll take a look at it. And let's see. Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay. So Mark Mitchell is having a huge day, 170. He's ahead by 50 points, going for the day money of 16,000, and it looks like he's got a really good chance to get it. Chris Felica is in second for day money, and that's worth $9,800. So not only is he in the running to win the thing, but also get second place day money. And then it's kind of bunched up, so we don't know what's going to happen down here. But I'd say there's a really good chance that Mark Mitchell wins the day money today. And he's got a chance to win the whole thing because he's in 8th place with 218.
And like we said before, the day money is pretty good, $16,000. That's pretty good for first place.
Yes. So, all right. So we see how pretty tightly bunched they are. I think it's time for us to handicap this race. There's only 6 horses, but let's go to the live racing and see what we can do. So what are you thinking in this race, Chris?
Well, I'm thinking there's a real good chance either the 2 or the 7 will win, and neither one, both like, even money so all the money's on those 2 horses. Between the 2, I would probably pick Legs Galore over Warren Showtime because I think that horse has a tactical edge. And the other speed horse, the 5, Warm Summer, the one horse that might have been able to challenge it for the lead, scratched. And the 6 horse, they switched to blinkers off. I think they're going to try to rate that horse. So I think Legs Galore gets an easy lead, and she'll be hard to run down. And Warren Showtime's really consistent closer. So, you kind of have both sides of the closer and the lone speed as the 2 favorites. That's tough. But I do think there's a couple of long shots that are going to be really long because of how heavily these 2 horses are bet that are not impossible. So that's why I think it's kind of an interesting race from a contest standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, this is if I'm Chris Felica, I'm loving this race because I'm thinking most people are not going to make up ground on me if I'm, in the lead with these low prices. However, it wouldn't shock me to see almost any of these horses win the race because they all sort of have pretty good patterns.
So who would you pick if you're going to go beyond those 2? So first of all, you're Chris Felica. Who would you go with? Are you going to just take a chance that one of the favorites will win and just pick the one you like the best? Or are you going to try to be defensive and pick a long shot just in case? And if it does come in, you probably win the contest right there.
I'm glad I'm not in this contest. Just for, because having to make this decision. And if he's listening right now, he's probably saying, yeah, this is horrible. Right? It's a horrible place to be in, trying to hold on to that 235,000. I think that Warren Showtime, based on what I'm looking at, the horse just ran the biggest race of its life and is vulnerable. Not that vulnerable, but like about as vulnerable as Domestic Spending was yesterday, having run a huge race in his last race. So I'm going to go against that horse. If anything, I go with Legs Galore, but to be safe, to save myself from long shot possibilities, especially a horse coming in second, I go with, wait for it, the 3, Nardini.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that horse. That horse has a really good closing kick. So if Warren Showtime doesn't fire and Legs Galore gets tired, that might be the horse that gets the job done. It's interesting. It's a 5-year-old. It's a she, actually. It's a mare. A 5-year-old mare just ran 2 turns for the first time. I think 2 turns. It's certainly a route for the first time, and won by 7 lengths. And, it was, what's that racetrack? Pleasanton on the
Pleasanton.
dirt.
It was that racetrack, but the last time I handicapped a race when a horse was coming from there, it was Clem Labine, and she romped at Del Mar. So, I'm not going to hold the racetrack against it. I'm going to go with the figure, and ran the best race of its life going 2 turns for the first time. This is what she wants to do by acclamation out of a mare named Ismene, who I meant to look up, but I think she was a good turfer.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's one, and it's going to be like 40-1. That's the projected odds, something crazy like that. The other one I like, I'm not sure which one I like better, is Cassie Bell, who I've mentioned before as a horse that has some tactical speed, but I think they're taking the blinkers off and they're going to try to get her to settle a little bit. She could be in that perfect spot behind Legs Galore, and if Legs Galore does tire, she might be the one that gets first run. And that horse is 40-1 projected price. So to me, that one of those two is who you play. Probably, unless you're right at the top of the leaderboard. If I were at the very top, I'd consider Legs Galore as the play. But, I tend to be aggressive. And I'm thinking, man, if Legs Galore does win, it doesn't cost me much, or Warren Showtime. But if I could hit Nardini or Cassie Bell and I'm near the top of the leaderboard, I'm probably the only person with that horse, and I just pretty much win the contest right here. So, you could blow it open at the top if you pick that. And if you don't, and it comes in, all kinds of people are going to make a huge move on you. Probably, you'll go from 1st to 10th or something. So that's kind of how I'd play it. I'd probably go with one of those 2 big prices.
Right now, Nardini is projected at 18-1, so not 40-1, but maybe you were thinking of Cassie Bell.
Yeah, Cassie Bell. So given that, I hadn't checked the projections. Yeah, Cassie Bell then would definitely be my play at 41 projected odds.
And you know what? This is not out of the question. Absolutely. The dam of Nardini did not win on turf, but had 2 seconds. So two seconds out of 2 races on turf, going 6.5 furlongs. Yeah,
it's just the problem with Nardini is, she's a sprinter, and she did win in that route, but it was at Pleasanton on the dirt. And a lot of times, like those California fairs have huge biases towards speed. So you still got to kind of wonder, can she get the distance, especially chasing a horse like Legs Galore? But you're getting 18-1. But that's why Cassie Bell, I'm thinking their strategy is going to be try to rate. And that she can get the distance. She's done it before, and she's won at a mile. So to me, you're getting a bigger price and probably just as likely to win, although they're both a stretch. The 2 favorites really are good in here. I don't want to knock them too hard. You said Warren Showtime could regress off her last, but she runs one, she's definitely been really consistent in her career. So, and she's that much better than this field anyway. She could regress and still run 1st or 2nd.
And it's been almost 2 months since her last race where she did run so big. Just based on my work, that was probably the peak of her racing career, her last race. So if she's ever going to regress, it's going to be today, in my opinion. Yeah, carrying a little extra weight now too.
Yeah, if she regrets, it depends on how you define aggression. I don't think she's going to repeat what she just ran. But her last 4 or 5 races are all much better than anybody in this race other than the 2. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if she runs back to those races. I'd be shocked if she runs another, race like her last one. And to me, Legs Galore in that last race where Warren Showtime beat her, Legs Galore was the best horse. Legs Galore had a lot of trouble, and then rushed up to the front. And, got a little bit tired, but kind of understandably. So in this race, there's really no pace pressure at all, and she'll probably break alertly. So to me, she's got a big tactical edge over Warren Showtime. That's why between the 2, I like Legs Galore.
Yeah, so if I'm Chris Felica, right now I'm thinking, should I go with the 2? Or should I go with the 3? If that's only if I am him.
If that's your opinion, he had your opinion of the.
Yeah. He may be thinking Warren Showtime can't lose, right? But he did go with the price in the last race.
Yeah. I think it's kind of. Yeah, it did. He's been making the right decisions today on these short price race on these tough races. Yeah, for me, if I'm him, I either go with Legs Galore or Cassie Bell, the 6, the 2 or the 6. I would understand either one. I mean, if to me, 2-1 and Legs Galore doesn't seem that bad in this field, and pick up 8 points when you're already in the lead. And if you don't pick it and Matera or DeVito have it, then you could, or at least if Matera had it, you'd lose the lead. So I could see going with the 2, but I also could see going with the 6 and trying to win it right here. But to me, those are the 2 choices that you want to make near the top. And then if you're farther down and you're still thinking about winning or finishing the top 5, I think you got to go with either the 3 or the 6.
Right. And I think out of this top 50, a lot of people are going to have the 3 or the 6.
Yeah, you're going to have Nardini's and Cassie Bell's all up and down. Again, this is what people hate about contests, but it's just making a tactical decision based on the percentages, which is what you do every time you make a bet or any time you do, you make a play in a sporting event. You're thinking, what's the best decision? What's the best play? Given the context of the game and score. So, I don't get people who just hate it when people stab at the end. I don't think it's stabbing. I think it's making tactical decisions based on, what's presented to you in the race. So we'll see how it sorts out.
Yeah, I personally like contests that have optional plays. That's why I like the NHC. I like the NHC because it has some mandatories. So your decision is made for you 8 times a day. But you have 10 optionals, and that's just my personal choice. I also prefer, if it's going to be all mandatory, I prefer pick and pray, because I think I might choose the long shot in the last race just because I like it, as opposed to because I have to choose it. However, given the rules, you play by the rules of whatever contest you're in, and I agree with you that when it comes to this type of contest, if you don't like that some people are going to be stabbing at the end, you shouldn't enter the contest.
Right. I mean, it's just like anything. If you're down by 3 with 3 seconds to go, you're going to shoot a 3-pointer. You're not going to drive to the hoop. That doesn't mean that if you make the 3-pointer that you lucked out. It just you made a decision based on where you were in the game. It happens all the time in every game, every sport. Yeah, I just don't understand the vitriol it can generate in these contests. Although I get it when you're frustrated and you're near the lead and somebody catches you at the end. But you got to just play the game the way it comes up. And in a tight leaderboard like this, if there is a big price here, and this is the one where it'll be the worst, it'll be the most magnified because, it's such a small field. A lot of people will be on both of these long shots. I mean, they'll be heavy in the contest. That 40-1 shot, Cassie Bell, will be like 5-1. About 1 out of every 4 or 5 people will be playing that.
Yeah, well, it kind of reminds me of Admiralty Pier in the NHC last year, when
2 years ago.
1/3 of the room. Well, it was 2020. It was. The year
I guess it was. You're right.
But 1/3 of the room had the horse. If it had been an optional race, maybe 1/20th of the room would have had the horse. Now, I brought up the second page of the leaderboard because clearly we have some sort of some stars. Steve Wolfson Sr. in 52nd. We have Paul Sherman in 60th. They're right on the cusp, and they're going to be going with either the 3 or the 6. Well, I would guess they're going to go with the 6. And if that happens, that will put them right up there. Near the top.
Or the 3. The 3 is close to a cap horse too. So I think.
Well, it's 11-1. It's not that high.
Yeah. Well, but in terms of projected odds, if they're looking at that, it's 18-1 right now. So they're expecting that horse to float up late. We'll see. I mean, that's not always right, especially as you get into longer prices. It's a little bit more unpredictable. But to me, they'll go with one of those 2. The one they might like one a lot more than the other. You kind of like Nardini a little more. I kind of like Cassie Bell a little more. So
I mean, look at the prices right now. Like I do find it hard to believe that Nardini is going to go from 11-1 to 8-1 post. So I I might pull the trigger on Cassie Bell right now. Right now, I have Nardini selected on Horse Tourneys, but I've got my hand, I've got my mouse like ready to click on Cassie Bell, and I'm waiting until.
That's right, when your internet goes out.
Well, that's why you have to make the selection ahead of time, right?
And then you're trying to get on your cell phone, and you're on your phone trying to get it on there. So, yeah. I can tell you some stories about trying to make plays when the internet goes down.
All right,
so they're coming to the gate.
12-1. Cassie Bell's at 25-1. And the thing is that if Cassie Bell wins, it may not be a $64 play because Warren Showtime could easily get second, and then that would leave probably a lower place payout than the $22 cap.
Yeah, it won't be a cap on the place probably, unless they're both out of the money. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how they ride this race because, it looks on paper like Legs Galore is just going to have it all her own way on the front end. So it'll be interesting to see if anybody tries to take her on.
Well, now she's 8-5, and Warren Showtime is 7-5. So maybe there's a little value in choosing Warren Showtime.
Yeah, well, the projected odds had them pretty close together, so I would expect to see Legs Galore now. 8-5. Warren Showtime still about 7-5. They're about even right now, so we'll see what the late odds change.
Okay, they're off, and I'm going to give it a few seconds, and then I'm going to reload. And Chris Felica goes with Sedamar, which is a nice, actually, has a perfectly good shot. I believe was 5-1.
Yeah, that seems like a strange pick, though, because that horse is a lot less likely to win the favorites, I think, and you're not getting that much bang for your buck, but maybe he figures nobody else would have it. And he's right. Nobody right below him did. A couple others did. Anthony Matera, taking Legs Galore, that's a huge pick because that horse looks like the winner.
He takes the lead.
That's what I mean. That's why, to me, if I was Felica, I would have went with that horse or a real bomber, not something in between.
Now, we didn't talk about Pulpit Rider, the one, but he's got a perfectly good shot at 7-1. I mean, Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see if they can catch Legs Galore. That's the big question.
Yeah, that's pretty fast first fraction, and Nardini 10-1 in second.
Trying to make a run in second, yeah. And the 6 horse is not in a bad spot.
Nardini looking for the upset teeny.
6 got a lot of horse left. He hasn't really asked, and it saved ground the whole time. So we'll see what that one does. The 6 and the 3 are coming on. This could blow it up.
Legs Galore. Right now it's the 3, but the 1, here comes the 1 who we didn't even talk about.
Yeah, but the Nardini at the big price.
Yeah, but
and the 1,
it's going to be close. We didn't
that's
talk
a close
about
one.
the 1. We never talked about the 1. Randall Miller is going to take the lead in this contest because he's only 17 behind, and that was a 7-1 horse. And Alan Lahr is going to be in second, or he'll be close between him and Chris Felica.
Wendy Long was so close to hitting with Nardini.
I can't believe you had to go down to 12th place to get somebody taking Nardini.
Yeah, so that shook up the leaderboard there.
All right, and I will stand by my choice to not go with Warren Showtime, who did not finish in the top 2.
Well, I don't think either one of us liked that one, but actually, I guess I was going to say nobody near the top played it, but there were some people there 8th through 11th that all went with Warren Showtime.
Well, Basil DeVito took Warren Showtime. I mean, 5
true.
of the top 11 chose Warren Showtime, and that was not a good. To me, that was the worst play you could have made in this race.
Whoa, the 3 got a good bob. Oh, it's closer than it looked.
It could be a dead heat.
It's hard to on that angle. The 3 got a huge bob. On they have a horrible angle on the finish line.
Let's see who's got the 3. Steve Simonovic. Benjamin
Wendy
Baychuk.
Long. Yeah.
Dan Wild has Nardini.
Oh no, they put Pulpit Rider up. Pulpit Rider didn't get it.
All right, so we didn't talk about Pulpit Rider, but he looked like, I said earlier that I thought any horse could win the race, but we didn't actually specifically talk about that horse.
Yeah, Sedmore and Pulpit Rider looked just as good as Nardini and Cassie Bell.
They just weren't as high priced.
Yeah, I mean, you weren't. Why? To me, it just why would you go for that one over the higher one? But clearly, and it worked. And for a couple people, it could be a $200,000 decision. Well, so I'm not going to knock it.
Who had Pulpit Rider? Gregory Callowag had Pulpit Rider, and he was pretty up there yesterday. Dropped back today, but now he's back in it. Miguel,
he was like I was gonna say he was like third yesterday. By the end of the day, I think he was like third.
He was close. Michael Bryan, Jamie Michelson, former NHC champ, and let's see who Steve Wolfson and Paul Sherman had. Paul Sherman had Cassie Bell. We knew he was going to pick Cassie Bell. And Steve Wolfson Sr. takes Pulpit Rider and will be in the top 50. Hall of Famer Steve Wolfson Sr.
Yeah, and a lot of Nardinis had that tough beat there for them. Wendy Long, Steve Simonovic, Benjamin Baychok, Dan Wild. Quite a few people had Nardini, not surprisingly. It is a little surprising.
We have to take some credit for choosing Nardini. we were both on Nardini.
Well, it's going to be an interesting leaderboard now. We'll see when it gets official. This is going to be fun, these last two races, because this tightened it up even more. Now you're going to have, let's see, they're going to be at about 250 around there, the leader, and this is going to be tight. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, so Randall Miller. Do we know about Randall Miller?
I do not know Randall Miller at all. We might get to know him before this day is over, though. They've got a photo for fourth place, so it may take a while before it becomes official.
So Alan Lahr will definitely move into. Anthony Matera is going to drop into fourth.
Yeah, the good thing is for these guys who hit this race is the place price will be very good because you have two chalky horses in a small field out of the exacta. So they're going to get good place prices. This will pay better to place than you would typically expect in a small field like this.
All right, let's see if I'm gonna reload and see if it's official, and let's find out. Not yet. It may be official, but the prices have not come out. Yeah,
they were having a photo for fourth, so until they still look dead heated for fourth. They dead heat for the fourth place.
Okay, it's official. And we're just waiting for prices. Okay, 1660 on Pulpit Rider. And indeed, Randall Miller takes the lead at 252. Chris Felica holds on for second, but only by 50 cents over Alan Lahr, who had Pulpit Rider. And Anthony Matera is in fourth with 240. $12 separates the top four. So this is definitely a nail biter with two races to go.
Yeah, I mean, and even the top 10 are within striking range here. So yeah, this is going to be some tough choices they need to make in these last two races. It's going to get exciting.
So yeah, I didn't $940 for the place price on Nardini. Certainly helped Wendy Long, but not as well as if she had actually stayed up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, not nearly as much because those guys on Pulpit Rider wouldn't be up there, and the guys on Nardini on Gals would be another $20-25 farther up. So that definitely hurt them. That was a tough beat for anybody who had Nardini in there.
So I'm just scrolling through to see like who else we have. We have Jamie Michelson in 35th, a former national champion. There's Steve Wilson jumped up to 40th place with 176. There's only 2 races to go, so things are really going to get hairy. And I think while we're now's a good time for us to go to an interview with Paul Sherman, who is just below the top 50 cut line. He went with Cassie Bell. If he had gone with Nardini or Pulpit Rider, he'd be in the top 50. He's not completely out of it, but he's close, and he's a great contest strategist. He won the inaugural Spa Surf Showdown. So let's go to that interview with him.
And we have the winner of the inaugural Spa Surf Showdown here with us today. He's Paul Sherman. Paul, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here again. Always good to be on your podcasts.
All right, now you won. That was 2 years ago. You won the inaugural Spa Surf Showdown, and you won $109,000 in that event. What did you do with that money?
I split it with my brother, first of all, so we go partners and everything, and then I pay taxes on it, and then
You're still spending it.
I'm spending it on other contests. That's what I'm doing. I'm
Right.
spending it on flying around the country to other contests.
Did you actually make a withdrawal from Horse Tourneys, or did you just leave the 109 in there?
He actually sent me a check, so it was funny because McKay sent me a check in the mail, and then I didn't receive it for some reason. It went somewhere else, so he might have put it in my account, or he might have sent me another check. But I now have an extra check, so the check that he initially sent eventually got to me. So I have a $109,000 check on the wall of my home office to remind me of that victory, and to prove to other people who aren't horse people that I actually win money doing this at times.
Now, is that your biggest win, or like what's your biggest win?
Well, the added 9,000 probably is my biggest win. I won 100,000 in third place in the NHC a few years back. I won 100,000 coming in second place at the Horseplay World Series. My tour victory, I'm not sure whether it was 75 or 100,000, but it's my biggest win by $9,000. That's for sure.
All right. Chris, do you have any questions for Mr. Sherman?
Oh, yeah, all kinds of questions. We're actually talking to Paul several days before the contest starts, but I think we're actually going to air this on the final day when we're down to the last 4 races, I think is when we're going to show this. So let's imagine you're there in contention going into those last 4 races. What's your strategy? Let's say you're near the top of the leaderboard. Do you change your approach in terms of what you're playing? I mean, how do you go through that strategically?
Well, getting there is the hard part. But once I'm there or I'm close, you've got to weigh what horses, the odds of the horses you like. But normally, I'm going for the win. Normally, I'm putting myself in a position where a hit will give me the win.
Now, so you really are focused on that top spot. If you're assuming you have a shot at it, a decent chance, you're going to take that, be a little more aggressive and go for the win rather than playing it conservatively and kind of trying to hold on to second or third or fourth or fifth place.
Yes, the money drops off pretty quickly. I think it goes from 40% to 16% to 8% to the top 3. So if you have a chance, you don't often. Hopefully, you'll be in position to have a shot at the end. But you're not always in that position. So when you are, you should take the shot to win. No one remembers second place.
That's right. We aren't interviewing the second place finisher from 2 years ago. Now, when you won the first event, you hit a 3-to-1 shot. Now, was that what was your strategy with that? Was it just like, that's the horse that's going to win?
Yes, that in that situation, it was a horse. My brother and I went over the race, and it's the horse we liked. We have to like the horse that would give us the win. I had to hope that the person ahead of me didn't have it, and they didn't. And we did get a little lucky. I can't remember the name of the horse, but there was a lot of crowding at the beginning of the race, and actually there was an inquiry after the race for a while, which wouldn't have affected me. A pretty easy victory, but about 5 of the horses had no shot after the gates opened. So you have to be a little lucky too.
I think the name of the horse was Passing.
Yes.
10 horse.
Yes. Right.
I have a screenshot of the leaderboard from 2 years ago. You passed Peter Bear to take down the win.
Who I had never met until I met him at the Breeders' Cup the following year. We had a good chuckle about it. Yeah. But again, I have to be lucky that he didn't like the horse either. He didn't like the horse. I liked the horse. So if he had played it, then it wouldn't have mattered. But I'm never really concerned. I never try to think what other people are going to play, because I really have no control of that. And most of the time I'm wrong anyway. I always try to pick who I like and not really be concerned with the possibility of getting blocked at the end.
Now, what would your advice be? There's going to be a lot of people in this contest, and most people are not going to do that well, and especially in these big money contests, it's hard to get up there. What advice would you give to somebody who hasn't really achieved, hasn't had the amount of success that you have?
The best advice is don't panic. You're never really more than a couple of medium-priced horses away from being in the picture. A lot of people get behind the first day and panic and start playing longer-priced horses than they normally would, or horses they don't particularly like. I basically, day one, I won't be that concerned with the prices. I'll play who I like, or a horse that gives me best value. I'm not worried about. Is it day money in this tournament? I believe there might be.
There is day money. Yeah.
I'm not concerned with the day money. I'm concerned about hopefully being in position for the next day. And day one, I'll play who I like and see where I am, and that'll pretty much go for probably the first half of day two. Because again, you're always just a couple of medium-priced horses away from being close. So if you keep steady, you know who you're going to play, you know who you like, play those horses, and don't switch your strategy because a cap horse comes in and 30 people have it. Just play steady, use whatever tools you use whatever strategy you use, and don't change until you really, really have to.
Chris, you got any one other question for Paul before we wrap it up?
Well, I have a question. Do you have 1 or 2 entries in this contest?
I'll take 1 entry in this contest. I had 1 entry when I won it, and I was close for I think the last Flow Cal, and 1 entry there. I'm not sure. There's always a debate as to whether or not a second entry gives you an advantage, because you can always split your tickets and end up with 2 mediocre tickets instead of 1 good ticket. So this is a hefty price tournament. So I'll probably take an entry. My brother will probably take an entry, and that's $5,000 between the two of us, which is a lot of money. And I don't really think that the second entry gives me, if it does give me an advantage, a little more advantage, it's minimal. It's more fun playing with 2 entries, but you do have a chance of splitting your tickets and then ending up with 2 mediocre tickets instead of 1 halfway decent ticket.
Yeah, I mean, that's always the age-old debate. And I'd say beyond 2 tickets, it really the returns really diminish. That's why, for me, having the concerns lots of players have about, having beards in a contest. In this kind of a format, I don't think it really buys you much at all. And it's just they're contributing to the prize pool is the way I look at it. I don't really get too concerned about that because I don't think it's a big advantage to have, more than one entry, and certainly not much of an advantage to have more than two.
Right. I don't see any advantage of having more than two entries. And again, my feeling with regard to the NHC is, again, people, I think most of the players who've won have had only one entry. It's more fun having two entries. You like to cover more horses, but I don't think it guarantees you or gets you much more of an edge than if you only have one. You're playing your best horse. You're playing the horse you like the best on your one entry.
Yeah, and it costs more, and it's more work.
And it's more work.
And it's hard enough finding the winner,
Right. Right.
All right. Well, hey, want to wish you luck. Hopefully you are on the leaderboard at the time we are airing this.
Hopefully.
Good luck in the Spa.
I'll talk to you again then, if that's the case, right?
We're going to be ready to interview if you're near the top. So
okay.
So hopefully we'll be trying to patch.
More incentive for me, right?
All right, great. Well, hopefully you can get the Sport of Kings pod karma going with you, and we wish you luck.
Great. Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Chris.
Good luck, Paul.
Thank you.
And we're back at the Spa and Surf Showdown show. Said it right this time. And welcome to the over 100 people that are watching on YouTube. Thanks a lot for tuning in because it makes our job a lot easier knowing that people are actually watching this content. We really appreciate you being here. So, Chris, we've got the 8th race. There's 2 races to go. It's a tight leaderboard. What do you think the strategy is here for the people near the top?
I think now these last 2 races, for most near the very top, it's trying to find some winners so that you can cash. You don't want to give up ground at this point. You just want to find the winner. I wouldn't be surprised if we see people in the top 3 or 4 spots because it's so tight. Going with just who they think is the most likely winner, and to me that makes a lot of sense in the second to last race, because we'll talk about it when we get to the last race. There's a big advantage to being in the lead going to that last race. So I think they're going to be looking for the winner, not so much for value, because value in a contest at this point is quite a bit different than the value from a betting standpoint. For them the value is they need a winner, and so that's the way I think they're going to approach it.
Yeah, the only thing about this race, which I actually like this race as a betting race, there's only 7 horses, but it's a very evenly matched. So this is the kind of race where I'm not going with a 2-to-1 because the 2-to-1 isn't much better than the 12-to-1 or the 9-to-1. So definitely it's when you're in the last 2 races, you want to go with who you think is going to win. But at the same time, if you are not sure who's going to win, then you do have to, by default, go with value in order to make a nice leap.
Yeah, when you can't choose between 2 or 3 horses, then let the price dictate. But I think in this case, you want to try to really think about who's the most likely winner. So if you got it down to 2 or 3, are they really all about the same, or is there one a little more likely? Because that could be the difference between winning or losing. And the price at this point, if you're first or second, if it's 2-to-1 or 5-to-1, either hitting either one is great. Not hitting either one is bad. So because probably the leaderboard's tight enough, if you don't hit the winner in this race, you're going to lose position, almost certainly.
Well, it sounds to me like you may be on one of the chalks in this race. What do you think in this race? Who's the horse you think is the most likely winner?
If I think, like you said, it really is pretty close, and so but I mean that might not be the opinion everybody else has, but I do think it's really close. And it's kind of hard to determine who is the most likely winner. I'm looking at the horses pre-race, and this isn't the horse I think was the most likely winner, but wow, the 7 horse who's actually, I think, the favorite. I don't think
6 is currently favored.
Okay, the 7 horse is one of the favorites. Let me just look. Maybe it was projected.
He's 3-1. 3-1.
Yeah, that horse looked really good in the paddock for what that's worth. On paper, I don't think the horse is the most likely winner. The 6 looked really good pre-race too, but the 7 looked really outstanding in the paddock. I'll look at the post parade as well. But yeah, I think it's kind of wide open. I think I know who I would play. But to me, this is an evenly matched race, and I think because of that, you're going to see people all over the place. There's no obvious most likely winner, and you'll see a lot of different horses picked. That's why I think if you don't have the winner, somebody nearby is likely to have it, which makes this a really interesting race from a leaderboard perspective.
Well, I'm just going to go right out there and choose the horse that I think is the most likely winner, who I absolutely would play this horse no matter where I am on the leaderboard. That is the 5. It's That Time. Has, won 2 races ago at a mile at Santa Anita. Was claimed by this trainer. Now, I don't know anything about this trainer. I know he has not won at Del Mar. But I do know that he has won at 22% in the last 90 days, and he's won at 30% with this jockey, Cesar Ortega, who, by the way, is 0 for 32 at Del Mar. He could be 1 for 33, though, after this race and still have a bad record.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the horses I like. At 12-1, that's one I think that's the one you play if you're a little farther down the board.
Plus, he's getting 7 pounds. So, like, I'm playing this if I'm on the top or at the bottom.
Yeah, of course, that 7 pounds is because he has a bug rider who's like 1 for 60 at the meet too, or something. So.
Well, right, except he's also hits at 30% with his trainer. So.
Yeah, but that was at Los Alamitos, not Del Mar.
Hey, look.
I think.
He's 11-1. I mean,
right. No, I mean, but there's
things to like about the horse.
Yeah, I agree. There's reason it's 11-1, and it could win. I'm just saying I don't think I would go with that as if I'm at the top of the leaderboard and I want the most likely winner. Do I want to go with a trainer and a rider who just have hardly ever won, if ever, at Del Mar? That's probably not the horse I want to lay my $200,000 on. That's all I'm saying. But if I'm farther down the leaderboard, for sure, that's definitely a playable horse. I'm with you. From a betting standpoint, probably is the best bet. But if you're on the top of the contest leaderboard, do I want, that trainer and that jockey? That's the one I'm going to have my money riding on.
I absolutely. I want all my money on this horse, and I will head-to-head you with any horse you pick. And we can bet $5. $5 payable in Vegas at the NHC in 2 weeks.
Okay, I guess. I mean, wasn't.
If you think, unless
I just think. Well, I'm just saying that. I'm just trying to give my perspective. I'm not trying to badmouth the horse. I'm just saying that this isn't the kind of horse you want your money riding on at this point. I think when it's a $200, I wouldn't make a $200,000 bet on that horse.
You don't want your money on that horse.
Well, when I have a chance to win $200,000, this is not the kind of horse
our producer asked for more smack talk, so so we're giving it to him.
Okay.
All right. So who do you like in this race?
Yeah, I'd like to get past the 5 horse. I think based on what I saw pre-race, I like the 6 horse Leprino as the most likely winner. I'm not saying it's a horse I would bet, but he looks good pre-race. He's got a good trainer and a good rider. He's got tactical speed. It's in good form. To me, it seems like the most likely winner. Like I said, is it good value in a betting standpoint? No. But if I have a chance to win the big money here, I would rather have probably that horse than any of the others at this point. So that was probably who I would go with. It's kind of close between that one and the 4. I also think the 4 is very strong in here. It's coming off the claim. It's in good form. That trainer's pretty good off the claim. The horse has some tactical speed and finish. So, for me, it's one of those two. They're about the same price, so I'd give the edge to Leprino, the 6. But for me, it's between those two. That's who I would go with.
Okay. Well, my offer to have a $5 bet on a head-to-head between Leprino and It's That Time still stands.
Okay, sure.
Want to take it.
Sure, let's do it.
All right.
I don't think it's that from a $5 head-to-head bet, it's that great of a bet for me. I'm just saying this is a horse I'd rather have my contest fate riding on. That's all.
So what you're saying then is if Randall Miller chooses Leprino, you think that's a good bet?
Definitely. I mean, I think that's a good play, not a good bet necessarily, but a good play in the contest. Yeah,
right.
Because
right. And if the horse wins, it's definitely a good bet. Just like Flat Out Joy was 3-5, and it was a good bet for the people that picked it. But Warren Showtime was not a good bet for the people that picked that one.
But if I had the conviction you had about the 5, I'd say the same thing with that, or the 4, or any. To me, the 1, 7, and 8 are all contenders as well. I mean, we haven't talked about the others. The 1 looks like it's terribly off form, but it just got claimed by Jerry Hollendorfer. It draws the rail, and it might be the leader early, and it took some early money. So I mean, even that horse, kind of never bet, but it's a little bit scary just because it's taking money and off its recent form. But the weight off and the speed and the rail, they're going to gun, and it might wire the field. And so if you thought that was your strong opinion, I could see going with that one. Like I said, the 7 looked really good pre-race. That horse has tactical speed. So this is a wide open race. That's why I think there's going to be people on all these horses, and you got to have the winner or you're going to lose ground. I mean, that's because it's such a crowded leaderboard.
Let's make sure we go through the whole field. Dr. Troutman has run some really good figures, ran a terrible race in the last race, didn't appear to have any excuse, but was claimed by Jerry Hollendorfer, was favored in the initial betting, and is now 9-2 and gets that weight break. So, I mean, from my perspective, the horse has as good a chance as any. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know as good as any just because the form is so suspect, but certainly if it fires and it gets the lead, if it gets a lead and it's not completely end of the line horse, definitely could win. There's no doubt. I mean, he's probably going to be on the lead, and if it clears, with that Prentice rider and the weight off, she's a pretty good rider. It's dangerous, but I think you can make a case too for those outside horses as well. I think, cause.
All right. Well, let's go through let's go through the field from top to bottom. So the 2-horse Owning looks like a sprinter to me and a slow one. That's the only horse I would completely toss.
I totally agree. No shot.
All right. So something we can agree on. All right. Now the 4 Cajun Treasure to me is a little low price at 5-2. But I do think has a perfectly good shot to win this race.
Yeah, that's in solid form. Second off layoff. Got claimed.
Won at a mile and a 16th. Won 2 races at Del Mar last year. One on the turf and one on the dirt.
Yeah, to me, that's the other horse that I might play if I'm at the top of the leaderboard. The 6 or the 4, and it's pretty close between those two. I'm kind of just because I like pre-race. I like the 6 in the. Just physically how it looked, but to me those are the 2 that you should go with if you're near the top.
Okay, I got a tweet from Jeff Nahill, who's a California guy, saying that the trainer and jockey are low sal and not good. However, they can win here and still be not good. So I'm sticking with my pick of It's That Time. But I understand that if Sergio Morfin wins this race, he'll be 1 for 6 at Del Mar. It's still not a great record, but I will cash in this contest if I'm in it. Let's go to the 6, who you said you like. I like the horse too. Perfectly good shot, Jonathan Wong. There's nothing not to like except the price at 2-1, which, as you said, if it's the top guy and he picks the 2-1, that and it wins, that's good. But are you in a situation where you might want to try blocking at this point?
Well, you're probably going to be blocking people too, because the Anthony Materia could easily be on that Leprino. I mean, I think you got to go with the most likely winner and just hope you don't get blocked, or hope you're blocking people if you're on the lead. Because if you don't go with the most likely winner and it wins, you're going to get passed up. And then you'll have passed up on the most likely winner. It costs you the lead. That's why I think you don't get so where the odds are. This horse isn't like 3 to 5 or something. To me, the odds aren't as important at this point near the top. You just want the winner.
Okay, last horse, because you talked about Cuz I Did It My Way, the 7 horse. You said it looked really good in the paddock. I think has a perfectly good shot, but is a low price for its ability. I think 3 to 1's a little low on that. The 8 is 7 to 1. Royal Insider. I think that horse has a shot. What do you think about the 8 Royal Insider?
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't shown real good form this year, but it's got races that could win. So yeah, it has a shot. I agree.
All right, well, they're in the gate and we're getting ready to reload the leaderboard. It's going to be exciting to see who has what and to see what goes on in this race. And they're off. And Randall Miller takes Cuz I Did It My Way, and so does Alan Lar, Cuz I Did It My Way. The horse that is currently 4 wide on the first turn. Chris Felica takes It's That Time, and Anthony Matera, 4th through 9th, take Leprino, the favorite. All right, well, this is going to be really interesting. Now, the 1 at 9 to 1 has the lead, as you surmised might happen, and with that weight break, could keep that lead the whole way.
Yeah, but they hard used that horse. The 4 popped the gate and got the lead, actually. The 1 was hard used to get there, so I think it's going to be done. The 4 and the looked really good throughout. Like I said, it just is nice and relaxed, and you've got the 7 or the 6 right next to it, and the 7 getting ready to pounce.
I'm telling you, that 5 is loaded. He's loaded, except he just checked. I thought he was loaded.
Right now, it looks like it's going to be a battle between the 4, 6, and 7. And the 6 looks like the best of them right now, but we'll see. It looks like the 6 is getting the advantage, turning for home. But the 4's digging in. The 4's battling back, and here comes the 7. This is going to be, oh my goodness, it's going to be a close one.
Oh, it's down to the wire. Oh my God, the 7 went down to 3 to 2. Incredible.
And it's going to be 7-6. Chalk.
So the top 9 players cashed, and the first and third finishers, the first and third place guys are now going to be first and second and have a little bit more padding to the lead.
I'll tell you, though, that was Randall Miller made the right play. I tell you, that was a paddock play there. Those 2 looked 7 looked the best, and the 6 looked second best in the paddock, and they ran to it. That was
I cannot believe that 7 went down to 3 to 2. That's just amazing to me. And let's see what the projected odds are. 3 to 1, and it went down to 3 to 2.
So that took we've been having this quite a bit at Santa Anita. These, after the gate opens, huge.
Right, it happened yesterday with Anna Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, they're just gigantic odds drops. That's a lot of money at that to go to from 5 to 2 to 3 to 2, whatever it was. That's like $50,000, $100,000. That's a big drop.
Okay, so I'm looking at the 23rd place in the standings is Scott Fiedler. He is the defending champ. He won $248,000 or so last year, including day money. He went with Royal Insider, and while we're waiting for this to become official, we're going to go to an interview with Scott Fiedler. He still has a shot, but there's only 1 race to go. So, now he's looking at cashing as opposed to winning, most likely, because I think he might be a little bit too far out of it to win, even with a capper. But we'll see.
Before we break, though, I just want you to know that I crushed you on our head-to-head bet.
You did
keep that in mind. Yes, it wasn't even close.
You
Yes.
did crush me. Wait, hey, I heard a titter in the background there.
I think that was a producer. He's trying to egg us on, I think.
I don't know if everybody heard that, but now, damn you! I owe you $5.
Yes, you
I'll
do.
get you back. I'm going to get you back next race.
I'll give you a chance next race to get it back. All right.
All right, so we're going to switch to an interview with Scott Fiedler, who's still right now at this point, before the scores are official for this race, is in the money for this contest and is the defending champ.
And by the way, just to point out, I think that the players on the top leaderboard, from a contest strategy standpoint, they all did a really good job there. I think that made sense. So I just want to give the kudos to those people. Under stress, they're making good decisions, but they've got one more to make, and somebody's going to walk away with $200,000 based on the result.
All right, now to Scott Fiedler.
And we have the winner of last year's Spa Surf Showdown, winning a total of $248,000 in cash, Scott Fiedler. Scott, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Scott. Glad to be here.
So, Scott, we were talking a little bit beforehand, and you said that you qualified for the NHC. How long have you been playing the horses, and how long have you been playing tournaments?
Interesting. The horses, as long as I could remember. My grandfather sort of taught me the game. It was very funny. He used to sneak me out to Nathan's, the hot dog stand in New York, and then from there, we would sneak over to OTB so my grandmother wouldn't find out. So, my first memory I laugh about racing is he was a big John Cruget guy. Mean Gene on the green, he used to always tell me. So,
all right.
And then he taught me how to handicap, and the tournaments. It was funny. I found the tournaments originally. I'm trying to remember. Can't remember the year. It was probably around 2000, probably about 6 years maybe. I think I found them about 2015. I said, wow, this is, an interesting feature to it was more fun to handicap for me than betting a lot of times. And I found the tournaments. I had won the Breeders' Cup one. It was at Derby Wars back then, I guess, was the big one. And then I was lucky enough to find Horse Tourneys and have won a few big ones, including last year's, the biggest one I've ever won. So.
Yeah, no, $248,000 is a hell of a payday. Did you do anything special with that money?
Well, considering my business was shut down last year, it was sort of more. I put it away for a rainy day and said, "Let me be smart with my money here."
You didn't put it all on the 6-horse and the nightcap or something.
I thought about it. I played a few more pick fives than I would have in the this year. We played quite a few where I put some money into them. So. I guess I've used it that way, and of course I kept money in horse tourneys, and played more of those, as we go.
So when you had I asked Paul Sherman, who won the first one of these in 2019. I asked him this question: did you make a withdrawal from horse tourneys for the whole amount, or did you leave like $5,000 in there? What did you do?
I actually left about $8,000 in there, so I took out about $240 is what I did. And speaking of Paul Sherman, that's a guy I got to meet. He's only about 20 minutes from. We live about 20 minutes apart, and we've never met. And I said, boy, I'd love to pick his brain because he's a terrific handicapper as well.
Well, he'll be at the NHC in 2 weeks, so hopefully you'll have a chance to do that.
Yeah, that's what I really look forward to with the NHC, with COVID and everything going on, actually getting to meet some of these guys that you see their names every week, in the tournaments, and you're fighting with them on the leaderboard. It's nice to, actually meet them in person and get to, to me, I think you're always learning in this game and any game you're playing, so it'll be great to pick the brains of some of these guys.
Absolutely. And I don't want to be an interview hog. Chris, did you have any questions for Scott?
Well, you had great success last year in this contest. Is there anything special? If you had some of the people listening on the interview, what did you learn from that? What did you do that you're going to try to repeat here? Was it just a lucky day, or did you do something different that led to the success that you had last year?
The one thing I did really love was I loved the Del Mar card on Saturday. Sometimes, when you're handicapping and you just see things and you're going, wow, I can't believe people don't see this and don't see that, and you happen to see it. So, early on, a matter of fact, today I was looking a little bit at the Saratoga and Del Mar cards for Saturday. So I like to get a little bit of an advance, before the scratches, just a quick preview of it. And, again, some of it's, you gotta have some, bombs, so to speak. You gotta have some big horses. And I was lucky enough to, Chad Stewart's Freedom and Whiskey came in. It was a max horse, and I went from probably, 34th, 40th place to about 8th. And then, thank God.
What was it that you liked about that horse?
It was a trainer switch to Chad, which I did like. And the greatest drop in horse racing. He was dropping from a maiden special to a maiden claiming. And, really didn't, showed a little bit of speed, not much. I watched the race again. I thought it wasn't as bad as it looked, with the drop. And thank God he nosed, he got up by a nose. And I think that really set the tone for me, going forward. And the other thing I really learned in that tournament is, that sometimes you just got to take the money when you can't find the long shot. And I think that's something that gets lost in these tournaments. I think everyone's always looking to hit the big number. And I think I won the tournament by about $18 when it came down to it. And on Sunday, the first 2 races, I took favorites that wound up winning, and it was about $18, the 2 favorites that, came in. So I think sometimes, you get too cute in these tournaments and you say, man, I got to find a, 8-1 or better, or I got to find that 20-1 shot. And you do have to find it at some point. But I think there's other times you need to say, hey, you know what? I can't beat this horse. He's going to go 5-2. Let me take the $10 and, move on.
All right. Well, we want to wish you luck, Scott. Hope you have a chance to repeat. This will be airing on Sunday night. So hopefully you'll be up there on the leaderboard.
From your lips to God's ears, Scott. I hope so. And right, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate being with you guys.
Excellent. Thanks for joining us, and good luck in the Spa Surf Showdown.
Yes, good luck, and have fun.
Thanks, guys.
And we're back at the Spa Surf Showdown show. And I want to talk a little bit about the money, because the money is pretty significant. In fact, it's the biggest money online tournament that has ever taken place. It's a record-setting pot of $659,000. I think that's the number. I do know the number for the first place prize is $235,000. So that's what these guys going into the last race are looking at. $235,000, a life-changing score by almost any metric. Even second place could be life-changing. I think it would change my life, certainly for the better. That's $94,000. Third place is $47,000. Fourth is $35,000, nothing to scoff at. Fifth is $29,000. Sixth is $23,000. Seventh is $20,000. And then we go down to, let's go to 11th. It's $8,800. It's pretty good. And if we go down to 21st, we're still looking at $2,500 to get your money back. To get your money back after 2 days of great handicapping and great horse racing, pretty good. So what do we think about the leaderboard and the strategy in this race, Chris?
Well, this is where contests are really interesting, because you have a horse that's even money, or 2-1 right now, but probably will go down lower. The 1-horse Fantastic. So normally you bet on that horse, you bet $2, you get $4 back. But if you're Randall Miller or Alan Lahr and you play that horse and it wins, it might be worth $235,000 for you, on that even money shot. So what's value in the betting world is not the same as value in the contest world. And it's interesting in that Alan is close enough to Randall that if he were to pick the even money shot and he hits and Randall Miller doesn't and his horse doesn't place, Alan Lahr could pass him with that even money favorite. So Randall Miller has to decide, do I go with that even money favorite so I can block Alan Lahr? Or, part of it depends on their opinion of the race. But, that's where, even as you get farther down the leaderboard, like say you move from third to second, that's worth $50,000 more in prize money. So again, if you hit an even money shot, it could be worth $50,000 to you. You might not win the contest, but if you move from third to second, it's worth $50,000. So, these people all up and down the leaderboard, they're making decisions about what is their target. Are they going to go for that 200 grand? Are they going to be happy to go from 20,000 to 29,000 or 47,000, 94,000? So that's why it sort of depends on what their objective is as well as what their opinion of the race is. And that's why they could make a good decision if their goal is to move from third to second. It makes a lot of sense maybe to play Fantastic. If you want to win the contest and you're in third place, clearly that's not a possibility. So you got to go somewhere else. So really interesting from a contest strategy standpoint.
Well, I do think this race is completely wide open. So it's interesting. I don't know who Randall Miller thinks is going to win this race, but do you just, like, if you think that Fantastic is going to win, but only has a little bit better chance than, let's say the 3-horse, do you take it no matter what? I mean, because there's still the chance that somebody could pick a capper or a higher price horse that gets second and still has a chance to pass you up.
Well, yeah, but I think as high as the leaderboard is, if he doesn't pick the winner, he's not going to win. I mean, somebody's going to have Foothill in the top 5, or someone's going to have Best Chance, or someone's going to have Sea of Liberty. Somebody's going to have the winner that's close enough to pass you up if you don't. That's why, when a tight leaderboard like this, you've got to have the winner in this last race. I mean, you've got to have the winner. Nobody's got a big enough lead where they're going to win. The only way is if Randall Miller doesn't pick Fantastic and Fantastic wins, and Alan Lahr doesn't pick it, then he could win it without having the winner. But that's the only way. And because of that, maybe if he doesn't think Fantastic's the most likely winner, and clearly goes with somebody else, but maybe he thinks it's just slightly better, he picks somebody else because there's only one person that could beat him with that horse, and that's Alan Lahr, who's in second, and Alan might be afraid that's who Randall's going to go with, and he doesn't want to get blocked, so he might go with somebody else. So if I'm Randall's spot, if I clearly like Fantastic as the most likely winner, then I go with him. If I think it's close, like you're saying, Scott, maybe I go with my second choice, because that way, the only scenario in which you lose, well, there's multiple ones, but, Fantastic won't beat you unless Alan plays it. And because Alan knows that you might play it, he may not. That's this whole game theory part that makes it really interesting. So I guess the final answer is, if he thinks it's really close, I can see getting away from your most likely winner. But if he thinks one horse is significantly more likely to win than the other, even if it's a favorite, I would go with that one.
All right. So let me give you a for instance here. Let's say that Randall Miller takes the favorite Fantastic, who's going to go off at 6-5 or so. And let's say the 5 wins and 8 people pass him. Then it's definitely not a good pick for Fantastic. So, I mean, to me, in a race like this that's completely competitive, I'm playing a price horse. If I'm on the top, I'm playing a price horse because to me, it's a wide open race. And I don't like Fantastic any more than any other horse.
Well, if you don't like him any more than the other horse, of course. But if you think he's more likely to win than anybody else, then, you're giving up the most likely winner. And the only way you're going to win is if you have the winner. So you're actually have a less of a chance to win the contest. You're lowering your chance of winning. Your best chance to win is to go.
Only one player can pass Randall Miller with Fantastic. Only one. So let's say he doesn't pick Fantastic, he picks some other horse, and Fantastic wins. He's guaranteed to be second place. Virtually guaranteed to be in second place.
Yeah, but not guaranteed to win.
Right. It's just a question of whether Alan Lar would take Fantastic. So to me, the odds are like to take Fantastic would be a low odds play. Like you're not really protecting yourself. But if you take a horse that's a price that a lot of people are going to have, and if it comes in, you're protecting yourself from possibly falling to fourth or fifth place.
Yeah, but that's just being defensive. You want to win. I mean, if you want to win, the difference between first and second is 94 and 235. If you want to win, I mean, you're right. You might, if some long shot comes in, you're going to lose, and you might fall farther behind. But if you really want to win, it's a very top-heavy win pool. You want to go with your best chance to win. That's all I'm saying. I agree with you that if he's not significantly more likely to win in your mind than other horses, you don't go with Fantastic. But if he is, you do. That's the right play. It just depends on your opinion.
Let's handicap the race. We'll start with Fantastic. Let's just go through the whole field, because players are looking at this field and wondering, I think it's good to take a methodical look at every horse from top to bottom. So let's start with Fantastic. What do you think?
I think he's the most likely winner. You got the rail. He's in really good form. He's the fastest horse. He's got the best rider. He's most likely to get a good trip. You got to factor all that in. Rider decisions, trip, all that. He's the most likely winner. Is he significantly more likely to win than some of the others? In my opinion, no. But I could see people with having that opinion that he's clearly the most likely winner and the one to play, and I wouldn't argue with them. If that's their choice, then go with it. If that's Randall Miller's choice, go with it. For sure. If you're Alan Lar, I wouldn't, because I'm afraid he might do that and block me. So then I'm going to try, go to my next pick if I were sitting in that second spot.
Okay, I think he's just mildly better than these other horses, mildly, and I can easily see him not running a great race in this race. So I absolutely would not take Fantastic in this race, no matter where I was on the leaderboard. That's just me. And
course, if you're not in first or second, you don't want to take it if you want to win. No, you might want to take it because you want to move up a few spots, but clearly he's not the play.
Right. Okay, so let's go to the rest of the field. Twilight Rider, who's 60-1. I think we can pretty comfortably toss this horse, correct?
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Now the three horses my pick, that is Foothill, ran pretty fast 2 races ago. Did not win, but was 4 wide and 3 wide on the second turn. It was noted as a buried race on the sheets, and then in his last race was bumped by both horses on to each side of himself. I think the horse has a great shot and is 9-1. And to me, this would be a good play because I think a lot of people would be right behind me playing this horse. So it would be a defensive play. It would be defensive and offensive because I think it has a great shot to win, but it would also be defensive in that I think other people will be playing this horse as well.
Yeah, the bump I didn't think was that big a deal in his last race, but just the ride was terrible. I mean, the rider just dropped hopelessly back. And you see they switched riders to this time to a very aggressive rider. So I expect a completely different kind of ride. Drew a good post. For me, this is the play, the 3 Foothill. I like this horse quite a bit. I think it's slightly less likely to win than Fantastic, but you're getting a really good price. And if I were probably anywhere on the leaderboard where this would give me a chance to win, this would be the horse I would play.
Okay. Okay, well, let's go to Nerves of Steel. Seems a little slow, but, it's a relatively young 3-year-old, still has some upside. And 9-1's a little light on the price, but I'm not sure what the projected odds are. Nerves of Steel, you think has a shot?
I'm not that interested. It did look kind of good pre-race, but to me, there's many others I would play before this one.
I mean, I'm not particularly interested in it, but especially at the projected odds of 13-1, but would not shock me. I wouldn't play it. If anybody does play this horse, they have Nerves of Steel.
All right. Okay, we got to go kind of quick because they're not too long till post time here. 5 minutes.
Okay, right. So the next horse is the 5 horse who's a capper at this point, and that is East Rand. I meant to look up the stats of like for a year layoff for Leonard Powell. Did not get a chance to do that. I know his stats for a 90-day layoff and longer are relatively weak. What did you think of this horse?
Yeah, his stats aren't good. This horse, I think, does have a chance more so than Nerves of Steel, but again, there's others I would play before this one, but I could kind of see maybe taking a shot with this one if it fires off the layoff.
Yeah, I mean, it is capper country, and it's not out of the question, so could be the day.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. If you need a really big price, you could kind of go with that one. That wouldn't be the worst pick if you really want to go for a big price.
Okay, the 7 horses, Fuego Caliente, another 3-year-old coming in from Florida for Jeff Angler, who's 0 for 4 at Del Mar Lifetime. What do you think of his chances?
This one's kind of like Nerves of Steel. I mean, I like the price a lot better. So, I mean, I guess from a price standpoint, it's not totally impossible. But again, this would just be one I'd be stabbing with if I needed a really, really big price.
It's interesting that this horse is a half to La Verdad and Hot City Girl, who are both really fast sprinters, major stakes winners, but sprinting on dirt. So go figure. The next horse is the 8, Best Chance, who's 5-1. Seems solid, but 5-1 doesn't get me excited for a horse that's, only of average speed.
And stretching out. I mean, it's run well routing before, but they've been sprinting it all year long. So, it's stretching out here. I usually not big on stretch out horses, sprint to route in a turf race.
Okay, the next horse is Liar Liar, a Peter Miller horse, currently second choice at 5-2. Seems like it has a perfectly good shot, but to me, it's just another horse in the race. I wouldn't want to play this horse at 5-2. If one of our cappers, one of our leaders loves this horse, there's nothing wrong with picking it if you love it. But for me, I don't know, just another horse in the race for me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it could win. Price isn't that tempting. I'd like Foothill over Liar Liar. So of the ones we talked about, I would favor the 3. But if you really, I can see people liking this horse and playing it. And if you're near the top of the leaderboard, it wouldn't be a terrible play. But I agree with you. It's not a standout anyway.
Okay, the 11 is Sea Falls, who I guess ran okay, has a win on the turf, won an optional claimer on turf, has a shot, is a little low priced at 7-1. What do you think of his chances?
I think his chances are as good as the other Peter Miller. So to me,
well, this
is
a lot
Shelby
better. Ruiz.
I thought we were looking at Sea of Liberty.
No, Sea of Liberty scratched.
Oh, really? I thought the scratch was No, I think
no,
the
you're right.
scratch is the 10.
You're right. Sea of Liberty. My apologies, folks. I thought Sea of Liberty was the scratch. It was the other one. So, okay, Sea of Liberty. Yes, I would agree with you. Has a perfectly good shot, and 7-1 is not a bad play at all.
No, I mean, if you're going to play a Peter Miller horse, that's the one to play, I think. And then on the outside, to me, that outside horse is the other interesting one, the Shelby Ruiz horse. She's good off the layoff, and this horse looks like it could clear early. And if it does, they'll probably send from the outside post, and it fires off the layoff. It could be the horse that wires the field. So to me, that's the other one I'm interested in after Foothill would be Sea Falls as the speed in this race.
All right.
Okay, so let's come down to it while they're going to the gate. Let's play who would you play if you're Randall Miller? Scott, who would you play if you're Randall Miller, based on your opinion, which is we've already talked through?
Well, I go with the 3 Foothill just because, this is based on my opinion, has almost as good a chance to win as Fantastic. And even if Fantastic doesn't fire, which is entirely possible, even getting second at Foothill, not only am I protecting myself from other people that have Foothill right behind me, but I also could get second and get some good place money, and that could be enough to pull off the win. What about you?
Yeah, I would go with Foothill, and then maybe Sea Falls is the other one I consider, but Foothill's would be my play. Same if I were Alan, and probably anybody in the top 5, just based on my opinion, either one of those two, Foothill or Sea Falls. But I wouldn't fault either Randall or Alan if they took a shot with Fantastic, if they think that horse is the best. Anybody else playing that horse is kind of a wimpy play because you have no chance to win with it. But one of those two, play it. I wouldn't fault that choice either.
Yeah, it's holding at 2-1, so is worth about $8. All right, let's reload. Let's see what's going on. Let's say reload. And Randall Miller takes Sea of Liberty. And Alan Lahr takes Liar. And Chris Felica takes Foothill. Very interesting.
Yeah, and the pace is hot. The 4 went out with the 12. 12 tried to get the lead, and they've opened up quite a bit on this field. So this is going to favor the horses that like to come from out of it. And, the Sea of Liberty is one of those horses. And so we'll see how it shakes out. And the one horse Fantastic. So we'll see how that shakes out. But hot pace up front early.
Hot pace up front, and it looks like it's still hot with all those horses. 45
and change. Yeah,
that's pretty hot. I'm looking to the back half of the field for the winner right now.
Yeah, Foothill is up on this pace. I don't see how he could possibly win off that pace. The one's been in garden spot. It might be sitting a little too close. So we'll see. 7's
making a pretty big move at 45 to 1.
And the 8 horse is I think it's the 8 horse making the move there. Oh no, it is the 7. Here comes the 1 and is it the 8 or the 7?
Here comes the 8. Here comes the 8. 6-1.
And the 1, it's the 8 and the 1. They're battling it out. The 1 puts his head out. Nobody went with him. Oh, they could have won it. Alan could have won it.
Went with Fantastic and is going to move up in the leaderboard. And it was the 8 that was in second?
8.
Basil DeVito will get some place money.
Yeah, that might move him in. It'll definitely probably move him up one spot. Probably not any more than that. So Randall backs into it, and Alan backs into second probably. So that was a good result for them, for sure.
Yeah, and, I mean, they took price horses, as I thought was a good idea, because they weren't going to lose unless somebody right behind them had Fantastic.
Yeah, but that's just loser thinking. If Alan had played the most likely winner of the race, he just won $200,000. That's the way you got to look at it. he'll be kicking himself.
Yeah. But unless Randall Miller also picked the horse.
But I'm just saying he didn't. if he had picked it, he won. If he thought that was the most likely winner and he didn't play it, we don't know what his opinion was. He picked Liar Liar, which wasn't a bad pick either.
Look,
I'm just saying
we can't judge any player right now.
Oh no, we're not judging him. I'm just saying it's a fact that if he had played the favorite, according to the crowd, the most likely winner, the best rider by far on the track, he would have won. He would have passed Randall. That's that's a fact.
Right. Yeah.
Now, does that mean
it is a fact if he did that, but he didn't. So there's no reason even to talk about it.
No.
So now we need to congratulate Randall Miller for winning the Spa Surf Showdown.
And Alan for second. They both
Alan
did great.
for second.
And Chris for third.
That's some real cash.
Oh yeah.
$94,000 for second. Third, Chris Felica. Although, what do you think is going to be the payoff for the 8? It's probably going to be what, like $6?
Yeah, I mean it's not going to be the favorite.
So Basil DeVito may move up one.
He might move up one. It's close. It'll be close. So Anthony could get beat out of fourth by a hair. And the difference between fourth and fifth is $6,000. So it's not quite as painful.
While we're waiting for the official, let's go to the tourney triple standings. Anthony Matera looks like clearly going to be the winner of the tourney triple. That means he wins an NHC spot and a BCBC spot. And I believe Douglas Shank, who's in second, will end up being the second place finisher in the tourney triple because he was second coming into this and he finished I think he's in the top 50.
Yeah, and I just want to, for Anthony, congratulate him. I mean, he was in contention in all three of the contests. I mean, he was by far the most consistently good player in the field,
yes.
And he really deserved that. Because he just really crushed it. He was a little unlucky to not win that one contest, but boy, he's played well.
Yeah, I mean, to have 3 top 10 finishes in the tourney triple is incredible. He finished third, and he won day one money, the first in the FloCal face-off, and he finished 8th in the Players' Championship. And let's see, it's official, so let's see where he ended up. He ended up 5th in this one. So he still won some pretty serious cash. He won $29,000. And then he had day money yesterday too, right?
By 60 cents he got beat by.
Yeah, so he had 16,000 day money yesterday.
And the triple and his prize money today.
Yeah, so pretty good.
Yeah,
a pretty good day.
Definitely. That was definitely exciting too. Down to the finish there. If Best Chance had won, let's see, that would not have given Basil the win, but he might have got up into second place with that. Probably would have. So he would have finished second. If that horse had gotten up there at the end. That was a tough beat for Basil, but he did move up a spot.
All right, so let's just scroll down and see who we might have missed here. Chances are that not that many people had Fantastic. Nicholas McMurdy did. He cashed by finishing 25th, and I think he finished 5th in the Players' Championship. So another good showing by Nicholas McMurdy. Douglas Shank finished 28th, and he was second in the tourney triple going into this race, into this contest. So he's going to win a BCBC spot. And I can't do the calculations for anybody who finished below that. But the congratulations to Anthony Matera and Douglas Shank for their performances in the tourney triple. I think we're paying down to 28th, so Douglas Shank also got $2,500 there. Scott Fiedler, defending champ, got his money back. Still has that 248,000 or whatever he won last year. Steve Simonovic holds on for 16th. That's good for 5,800. So I'm sure he's relatively happy about that.
Yeah, it was. They cash all the way down to 24th place, right?
I think it's 28th.
Oh, 28th. Okay,
28th.
guys, I thought it was okay.
20, oh no, you're right. It's 24th. I'm sorry.
So Scott,
it is 24th.
Remember I talked about how Scott might just be trying to hang on to that day money to get this $2,500? Well, he finished 24th. So
he finished 24th, yeah.
He got it by 6.
Yeah, but he also picked the capper. He didn't pick Fantastic. So he was going for the win.
He went for it by 10 cents. He held on for that money. Just a note, watching replay, man, that was a good ride by Flavian Pratt to win that. He made the difference on that horse. That was a really good ride. There were some not so good rides in there, but he made a really good ride. That's why he's the leading rider.
All right. Well, that will conclude the Spa and Surf Showdown show. Want to thank everybody for joining us. Congratulations to the winner, Randall Miller, for winning the Spa and Surf Showdown, Alan Levitt for finishing second, Chris Felica for finishing third, and Basil DeVito for finishing fourth, and Anthony Matera for finishing fifth and showing a pretty amazing, an amazing tourney triple with a third, an eighth, and a fifth. Congratulations to Anthony. And I would like to thank everybody who watched the show on YouTube. And we will see you again for the Flo Cal Face-Off next January. Until then, keep on cashing.
Cheers.